Hello friends, I am Manoj and today we'll talk about the current affairs. See, the moment anyone talks about the UPSC and think about the UPSC examination, so many things comes to the mind about the preparation, resources, timing, etc. But if you talk to the candidates, those who have already appeared in this examination, they will primarily focus on one and only one thing, and that is concepts. The conceptual clarity is the foundation, and rest of the things you can build very easily. You can, over a period of time, you can build different layers of the requirement. But the first thing first is the foundation. So the moment when we talk about you can say the concepts primarily within the range of the syllabus, and UPSC syllabus is indicative. It's not very expressive and detailed out. So you have to detail out. That detail out you do through or you can say two things. Either listing the subtopics and then continuously updating through the current affairs. This is how actually you make a framework of the syllabus. It's an ongoing process, a little bit exhaustive, little bit time consuming, but this is you can say the fundamental requirement of this examination. Otherwise you will play in a ground which is boundaryless, and it will become very difficult for you to, you can say, cope with the demand of this examination. If you ask me, personally, I believe that this examination is mainly about two things: conceptual clarity and clarity in expression. I always say concepts and expression. Primarily about two things. Always say primarily about two things. There are so many things that we can talk, but primarily about two things. So when we talk about the concepts is basically you build concepts when you are equally good in static as well as the dynamic part. Dynamic part we call it current affairs. But when it comes to the updation, the current affairs is nothing but the updation, continuously updating your preparation. So current affairs per se consumes a lot of energy, time, etc. The reason is basically, if you look at the way students are preparing, their strategy is basically divided in the 3 or 4 layers. Number 1, there's the static part. Number 2, the test. Number 3, current affairs. No, don't do so. Don't do so. Always try to work on one and only one thing. That I always say, that at the level of the micro detailing of the syllabus. That's it, nothing else. This is the only thing that you have to do. So everything what you have to do is to you can say bridge the gap between the static and plus dynamic. So it's a continuous process. Continuously you have to do. You have to think through it, and then only you can say ensure a better outcome. As far as current affairs is concerned, you have to on daily basis, on regular basis, you have to, you can say, bring all the preparation closest to the static part, so that your static part is continuously being updated. And then the next thing what is required, that the continuous assessment of the current affairs, that to test the health of your learning of your current affairs. Until it's the continuous process, it is endless process. So everything what you have to do to maximize the utility of your effort. In the minimum input for the current affairs, how to maximize the output is all about the GS Analyst program. And it's not about current affairs alone, because there are thousands and thousands of websites about the current affairs. So we don't want to increase the number. One more current affairs. No, not at all. It's more about one and only one thing, and that is the utility. And when we talk about the utility, there are various aspects. Number 1, to cover paper 1, 2, 3, 4, rather than focusing on few areas, polity, economy, IR. No, it's basically right from every paper you have to touch. So the way we scan the topic, that matters a lot, and always we try to update or work at this level, micro detail, at the micro level, because UPSC knows one and only one thing, and that is topic. That's it, nothing else. Nothing else. They test you at the level of the topic and micro detail of the topic. And so, here, and also if you look at the question paper of last few years, you will find the way UPSC has started framing the question. They have already, you can say, this line is very, very blurred between the static and the dynamic part. Because the way UPSC frames question, it is a typical blend of both the things. And so, that's why we have decided to focus on most of the areas, including paper 4. Nobody bothers about the paper 4 and some of the areas, geography and some of the areas in the current affairs. They mostly focus on the you can say, some limited part. And so when we talk about the utility in the sense, the coverage. Number 2, that how less time you can improve the outcome. Number 3, how you are bridging the gap between this static and the dynamic. And number 4 is all about the assessment. You cannot talk about the utility unless you talk about the assessment. And when I'm saying and talking about the assessment, it basically means that I'm talking about the answer writing, and I'm talking about essay writing, and I'm talking about the preliminary test as far as current affairs is concerned. So combining these things brings a better utility of your effort as far as current affairs is concerned. So with that, in the less time, you can do better. You can do better by covering the syllabus. So this is what the GS Analyst weekly current affairs program is. And it's not a typical current affairs program. Basically, we are trying to update the GS rather than simply talking about the current affairs event issues. No, it's not about. It's more about inclined towards the coverage of the GS, answer writing, tests, etc. So this is what the GS Analyst program is all about. Thank you very much.